Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director of Fairmont Equities. This is a weekly video where I take your requests and I analyse the share price chart for you. So today we have Genworth, SUPERLOOP, Red Metals, BSA and Lodestar Minerals. Also, just make sure you share this video on social media and just bear in mind that any advice here is general only. So looking at GIMA to start with, this is the weekly chart going back 3 years. So at the moment it's encouraging to see this reversal here. So the shares came back to retest this 2016 low. They bounced here quite nicely. I'll just zoom in a bit more. And then they've sort of eased back, rounded out, and then started to rally again. So the last several weeks have been encouraging. And so far it is holding on to that 2016 low. Just the one thing to bear in mind is this previous level of support. So near $2.80, that's going to be the real test for GMA. If it can't get through there, then we might see it come back and retest these lower levels. So with SUPERLOOP, weekly chart, we can see a very nice rally from 2016, and then it's spent almost 2 years easing back, so correcting against this very nice rally from 2016. Since then, it has jumped quite nicely, so we might be seeing the end of this downtrend. But the problem is, the one problem I see is that the volume has been a little bit larger on the way down than on the way up. So look, that's one negative, but it looks like it is potentially reversing this downtrend. If we have a look at, if we get our Fibonacci tool, there's an initial target around about 250. So I think at the moment it should continue heading higher and we should see some resistance around 250. Okay, red metal, RDM, clearly it's been coming back since last year's peak, and at the moment I'm just not getting any signs that it's about to reverse here. We are getting lower volume on the way down, so that is a positive, but ultimately at the end of the day, we've got a stock that's heading back, no signs that it's about to bounce yet, so we might continue to see it drift to lower. BSA doesn't look too bad. Again, this is a weekly chart, so a very nice run up over the last few years. And then just in the last 12 months, it has been easing back from its all-time high. Looks like a fairly flat correction here. So if this is the peak, we've got this sort of three wave where the move down is starting to taper off a bit, so that's a positive. Not much volume on the way down, so all of that's good. It's getting close to, well, it's pretty much at a support level, so it should bounce here. So if I was in it, I'd be inclined to hold on, because longer term it still looks fine. In terms of an entry point, I'd prefer to actually see it reverse. So it might, just because it's at support doesn't mean it can't just drift a little bit lower before reversing. But look, the overall picture still looks pretty good. And finally, Lodestar Minerals. So encouraging on this weekly chart that we had this huge spike here, and then we've had this flag formation. So it made a nice little flag, and then it gapped up, but unfortunately that got sold into. And if we have a look at the daily chart, we could see it's coming all the way back to that breakout. So I think short term, these levels are make or break for this stock. You know, up until these sort of last couple of weeks, it was looking fantastic, but just a bit concerned at this selling. Now that it's back to these levels, it needs to reverse here. Otherwise, if it starts getting back into this trading range, you'll get a lot of frustrated traders, and you might then see it dip lower. So worth just keeping an eye on. All right, well, that's it for this week. As always, if you have a request, send it through and share this video on social media, and we'll be back next week.